This week on Supercars Talk, Walkinshaws swap out their Enduro pairings. We get to see Lowndes' last 888 livery. It's a Townsville preview as well, while I get to chat with some of my Super 2 friends. The big news this week is that Chico Rolls will once again be sponsoring the number 99 at Bathurst. Well, last year it wasn't the 99, it was the number 1, but essentially that car. Unfortunately for them, I suppose, this year it's not going to be reigning champion Brodie Kostecki and Todd Hazelwood at the wheel. It will be Cooper Murray and Job Stewart, but it was a really cool looking car. I can't wait for the model that's coming out soon for that one, and yeah, I think it probably looked a slight bit better at the start of this year. In other big livery news this week, we got to see Lowndes' final 888 Supercheap Auto Wildcard. Yeah, Zach Bates hardly even got a mention in all of that, considering he's going to be the first one driving it at Queensland Raceway for his solo main game debut. Well, that will actually also be his main game debut, because he didn't partake in the endurance races last year, so that will be his big debut. Also on liveries, I think some of the teams this weekend will be continuing on with their Indigenous liveries. I did see, I think it was the Walkinshaw and Andretti United cars being packed into the containers, or into the trucks, not containers going into the trucks, with the Indigenous liveries still on the cars. Brad Jones Racing has said they will continue with Macaulay's, and Andre Heimgartner's car will continue with the liveries there. Bryce Forwards will have a different livery and sponsor for this weekend that will be announced soon, while the SCT car has gone back to its traditional livery. No confirmation on what Cooper Murray will be running this weekend either. But yeah, that's a lot to cover off there right at the start. Probably the actual big news this week was that Cameron Crick was confirmed as a starter at Queensland Raceway there. For quite a while, MSR has been trying to run that as a second wildcard round for Cameron. He ran at SMP, and with the rules changing over the last couple of years, where he could only run one wildcard for one round, whereas this year, what Tickford are doing, where they're running multiple drivers for one round and then for the Enduro campaign. I think that was the original intention for MSR, but with not having a co-driver to run in that second round, they have got Cam Crick to run 2 rounds. Will be interesting to see if this changes things in the future, especially like with the Craig Lowndes wildcard, whether he ends up doing a solo round as well next year, because it's already been confirmed that he will be running a wildcard with a Chevrolet team, as he sticks with Chevrolet while Triple Eight goes to Ford. It was also confirmed, of course, that Zach Bates will be running at Queensland Raceway in that 888 Supercheap Auto Wildcard. No surprises there. That one, we're just waiting for the official confirmation. And also, speaking of wildcards, it looks like charters are still on board for Bathurst this year. Of course, with Charter taking one of the seats, and they said someone left a field, which probably means another Super 2 driver co-driving with him. They won't be partaking at the Bend this year. They did do the Sandown 500 and Bathurst last year. This year they have said they will be focusing on Bathurst. Now the big story, I suppose, of the week was that WAU actually confirmed their Enduro lineup. We did know for quite a while that it would be Fabian Coulthard and Jaden Ojeda in the team. We all kind of thought that Coulthard would be continuing with Wood, and Ojeda had been brought in, so Mostert had a better co-driver. Better. People will disagree with me on that one, but yeah, I think they've made a step up. Anyway, they actually confirmed this week that Ojeda will be going with Wood and Coulthard will be back with Mostert. They did race a few years ago in that interim one where Lee Holdsworth disappeared and decided rather than go and win another Bathurst, he'd plod around in the back of the field. Anyway, enough about all that. But yeah, those combinations have been confirmed. Why have they gone this way? I think possibly Ojeda originally with Mostert because of the weight differences in the car, but then now that's been taken away, so the sizes do match up a little bit better. Not calling anyone fat, but bigger and taller. Do they want Woody with the better co-driver to guarantee his position in the 10, while Chaz has already kind of got his position in the 10? Lots of questions, not a lot of answers. Anyway, this means that basically the whole field for the Enduros is confirmed. There is the seat next to Richie Stanaway that is expected to go to Nash Morris. It hasn't been confirmed. And Cam Crick's co-driver yet to be confirmed. And of course, one seat in the charter car. The last little bit of news to cover off for the week is that you can design the 888 livery for the Gold Coast. Oh yeah, Red Bull, big excitement. You can design the whole livery. Have a look at that. It's the white parts on the bonnet and the roof that you can design. And of course the logos are on there and they stick to where they are. It has to be something in the wording like cohesive with the rest of the livery. I can just imagine some of the, just thinking what some people will draw on there. Maybe we could do like a big Dave Reynolds face or something put on there and submit it as a livery. See how we go with that one. Go on to, I think it's the Red Bull Ampol Racing Australia website, and you can fill it in how you like and enter that competition, and you could be the winner of the designing the livery of the Trulette cars for the Gold Coast. Now, there is racing back on this weekend. It is at Townsville. Once again, a massive shout out, Ian Fairley, for his photos. He was at Townsville last year, so I've got them scrolling through the backdrop. He will be there again this year, and hopefully we've got some really cool photos to put behind me once again while we talk about the racing. Last year, Waters took the win on Saturday and backed it up with second on Sunday, while Payne took the win on the Sunday. Mostert was second and third in the two races, while Will Brown took the other podium position over the weekend. He was last on Sunday, though, due to early race dramas. Feeney was seventh both days, while Randall and LeBrock both had really strong weekends just outside the podium in both of the races. This year, there will be racing on the Friday. Friday kicks off with a couple of practice sessions in the morning, 30 minutes each, two-part qualifying in the afternoon, and then race one of 35 laps there at 3:40 in the afternoon. That's going to be a real pain in the ass for us who work normal kind of jobs. I think it will be a replay on the Friday night of the qualifying and racing for me. Don't forget that there is a race on the Friday, and don't go playing on social media on your phone and get it spoilt. If you're anything like it, really does take away from the race if you know that Brock Feeney has gone and won it. Anyway, Saturday and Sunday, actually, exactly the same timetables. 10 a.m. for qualifying, 2 10-minute sessions, 12:05 top 10 shootouts both days, and then 3 o'clock 70 lap races on both days. A little bit shorter than what we saw last year, but still long enough that hopefully some strategy plays in. Now, my questions for the weekend are: who will stop the Brock Feeney domination, or will it just continue this weekend? This was probably one of his weaker rounds last year. Off memory, he was quite anonymous in that kind of, back half of the top 10. Didn't look like a threat for winning, so it will be interesting to see how he bounces on this year. Will we have a surprise person? Like, there was a big news story this week. Dave Reynolds said in an interview that, the other year he jumped from like 19th to 9th in the championship in 3 rounds. Like, we're one of those guys, like a a Percat or a Woody or thing like Will Davison or someone? Will they just have a blinder of a weekend and all of a sudden jump themselves kind of into that finals contention? I know a lot of people are talking about it now, but I think really getting into the top 10 and the finals this year is going to be a bigger achievement and something a lot of guys will sell themselves on for next year, rather than just kind of walking around and going like, oh, well, I got ninth in the championship. They'll really be pushing like, yeah, I made the finals. Let's make the finals again kind of thing. Then, of course, will WAU and Tickford bounce back? They've probably slipped down the pecking order and definitely been overtaken by the Groves in the last couple of rounds. But they were both very strong here last year. Will they kind of bounce themselves back into contention? And definitely on the street circuit side of things, they have been very strong in the past. But then, Matty Payne was very strong here last year as well. Basically, who is going to be the top Ford in the field this time round? Now, this weekend, we finally have some Super 2 racing back. It has been an eternity, and it felt like forever since I caught up with my buddies from Super 2. But here are our chats of the preview for the weekend. Once again, we've got the busiest man in motorsport, well, Australian motorsport, I suppose, on the show, Jarrod Hughes. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a little bit too long between drinks, hasn't it?
Yeah, but you've been a very busy man. You've driven just about everything other than a NASCAR, I suppose, in between now and since we last spoke. So what's been your favourite car to drive this year?
Well, I've driven. I guess you can say TA2 is pretty close to a NASCAR. It's looking about the same, similar feel and everything. But no, it's definitely been busy racing GT4, TA2, Super 2 this year. Um, yeah, last year Super 2 was my absolute. When I hopped in the supercar, it just felt awesome. I absolutely loved that thing, and every round last year was just a blast. And unfortunately, this year hasn't really gone our way. Just yeah, don't know what's going on, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of a tire batch possibly this year that we just can't seem to get a head around. But the boys and girls at Erebus have given it absolutely everything, and we've tried our absolute heart out. So hopefully tire batch changes for Townsville. So hopefully we'll be back where we should be, but I guess we have to wait and find out. But yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle Super 2 this year. So my favourite so far has actually been the GT4 car. It's been awesome
Okay.
to do it with Summer and helping her get a little bit faster and yeah, just watching her grow. But also, it's just such a fun car to drive, and such a great series to be a part of as well. And it's something that's getting much bigger. It's gotten bigger as the years gone
Hmm.
on, and yeah, it's an exciting thing to be a part of.
So in that, you two pair up in the car, don't you? It's more like an
Yeah.
endurance race.
Yeah, yep. So you either have to do a maximum of 35 minutes or a minimum of 25 minutes. So we split that up and work it in with safety cars, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's a great thing. She's done an awesome job to hop in from an 86 hop into that Merc. That's obviously a bit of a different beast, being paddle shift, got bigger car, bigger motor, everything like that. And yeah, it's been exciting to see how she's grown, and it's been good to learn as much as I can off Triple Eight. They run a really good operation there, so it's been great to learn from them as well.
And then with the TA2, you've been doing pretty well in that, haven't you?
Oh, it's been okay. It's been all right. Winton at the start of the year was really good. That was a great round. Tassie, we went to Tassie and just had problems. That wasn't a part of the TO2 series. That was a part of Trans Am, but just had engine dramas and it just wasn't a great weekend, unfortunately. So that wasn't great. And then after that, we got a new car, and ever since then that car has been really good. It's yeah, sort of had a lot of issues in that last one that we've fixed now on it, but able to hop in a new car for Bathurst, which was really good. We were one of the front Camaros and figured out something really good in that last race. I think we had some really good pace, but then unfortunately got taken out, which wasn't great. Did a race in Perth as well. That was in a different car. That
Mm.
was actually in a car that I drove in Calder Park in 2023, where I won on debut. So I got to be reunited with that Mustang, which was pretty awesome. And then had a round last weekend at Queensland Raceway. We had a good Saturday. Clean swept it, got a
Mm.
pole and two race wins, but just couldn't get it nailed on the Sunday. Just that Goodyear tire, I tell you what, it's a hard thing to get your head around, and there's a lot of things that you
Mm.
normally do to a car let's say get turn or get more rear grip or whatever it might be, and you do something to it that you know normally works, and it just does the opposite. So we've got a bit of learning to do with that tire, and we've got a few days booked in ready for the two driver event at QR again in the middle of August, I think it is. So got a bit of learning to do though.
Who are you teaming up with in that event?
It's still up in the
Or
air.
hasn't that been announced yet?
Yeah, it's still up in the air. Still up in the air. Yeah, it's potentially going to be Tyler, who I did it with last year, Tyler Cheney, and
Yep.
we won it last year, so it'd be awesome to do with Tyler again. But just up in the air whether what he's got going on and what we can do to make it work. But that's going to be exciting. I can guarantee you that.
So is there any differences actually between the TO2 and the Trans Am cars?
No, no. Well, sorry, there is now this year. There is with the Goodyear tire and the Hoosier. But
Yep.
other than that, they're the exact same car. Yeah, so it's good to be able to have the same car and just pick a series, whichever one you want to go into. But yeah,
Yep.
no differences car wise.
So I suppose you wouldn't have noticed the difference between the Camaro and the Mustang, switching between them. A bit more in the tyre.
Yeah, everyone's asked me that. They're like, because it's in the past couple of years, it's been known as the Mustang series. To be honest with you, there's a lot of Mustangs at the
Mm.
front, not a lot of Camaros, and that's something that hopefully myself and a few other people that are in the Camaros, like Alice did last weekend at QR, she did an amazing job.
Mm.
We've sort of been able to change that a little bit and show that the Camaro isn't something to mess with. But a lot of people have asked me what was the difference, and as you just said, it was hard because that was on the Hoosier and the Mustang, and then a Goodyear in the Camaro and different tracks and all sorts of different things. So it's a little bit hard to compare, but not nothing too major.
So looking forward to Super 2 at Townsville. Have you had a test in between? Because as you said, the year hasn't exactly gone to plan so far.
No, we haven't had a test, which is unfortunate. But if we went to test, there was no point because of the new tyre regulations this year, where you've got three sets of tyres for Saturday and Sunday. So you can throw, let's say, use one set on Saturday. You can actually use two sets on in Sunday's qualifying session, and then obviously you're not going to use two sets in the race because you're not going to come to a pit stop. But you
Yep.
can have two stabs at it in qualifying. But because they've have three there, they've taken sets away from your testing batch. So I've actually only think I've got a couple sets left for the rest of the year for testing. So
Okay.
if we went then we would have been a little bit screwed for the rest of the year. So no test, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to Townsville. I love that joint. Every time I go there, have a good round. So yeah, just looking forward to being that being our turning point this year. I think everyone's worked so hard and we deserve some good results. And I'm just looking forward to hopefully being able to put that on the table.
Well, at least the championship's still quite open, I suppose, because no one's run away with it yet.
Oh,
I mean,
I-
you're probably out of the hunt. No offense, but yeah, at least there's no kind of domination at the moment.
no, there's not. But we got to remember we're only two rounds in, which feels weird because we're in what are we, July now, and we've only done two
Mm.
rounds of it. But I'd love to say it's still there, and it possibly is.
Mm.
Mathematically, it is, but it's hard. I think I'm back in 19th or something like that. The DNF that we had in Tasmania didn't
Yeah.
help. But yeah, that's not the focus anymore. I don't think. I think the focus is know what I can do and I know what the Image Racing and Erebus Academy guys can do. So we just got to go out there and give it our best crack and bring home some trophies. That's my aim for the rest of the year. Just yeah, just do the best I can and bring back some trophies.
And so far this year, you wouldn't answer it before round one. Anyone off the Christmas card list yet?
Ha! It's back again. It's back again. Oh no, to be honest, no. Yeah. I don't think I'm on Brady Owen's Christmas list anymore. I accidentally took him out at Tassie, which wasn't ideal, so I felt pretty bad about that. Hopefully, I'm still on that list, but I don't know. I don't think there's
There's no one you need to square up yet.
oh look, there probably is, but you're definitely not going to say it straight away, are you? You're not going to reveal your plans. No, there hasn't been anyone this year. It's been a good year. Had a little bit of incident Phillip Island where I got brake checked and hit the front end of the car, but that was okay. That's all right. We were yeah, looking forward to the rest of the year. So hopefully I don't have to square anyone up, as you say. I don't think I will though.
Well, thanks for your time, and hopefully you have a bit better run at Townsville.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Thanks for having me again, mate. It's been a bit too long. We'll have to do one after this round. Make it a little bit more regular.
So back on the show, we've got Campbell Logan, who's been on a very long holiday, really. What have you been doing during this big break?
I don't even know where to begin. I can't even remember where the break started. It was in May, wasn't it? I don't know. It's just been so long. No, just been busy. I just prepping for Townsville. Obviously, when we last spoke, Tassie wasn't a really good round for us, so I came home straight away and just started putting all my effort into getting ready for Townsville and prepping for that. But I was at Morgan Park a few weeks ago with my 86 guys, and yeah, we had a test day this week, so just been prepping for Townsville really, and just working on a few things in the background.
How did the test day go last week?
Yeah, it was good. More laps at Winton, which is I used to love going to Winton, but I'm kind of sick of it now. It's just a bit annoying. And the one thing that I don't um, like about Super 2 is we get such limited tyre allocation. And I think it's something that should be looked at in the future because we are a development category and it's really hard to develop as a driver when I have one set of tyres that I'm a second and a half faster on than any other set of tyres throughout the day, and then I don't have a new set of tyres to run on a test day. So I don't know if they can look into maybe giving Super 2 guys a test set of tyres which we can't bring to a round or something like that. But and it's the same. Everyone was in the same boat at the test day, and everyone was testing. But it's a little better when you're a rookie because you have the rookie test days, which you get a green tyre for, and that way your cycle is better just with tyre life. But for the non-rookie drivers, it's makes for a long or a short day depending on your run plan. You either get, very spaced out runs, or you do it all really quickly and pack up early.
Do you, on a test day, do you compare yourself kind of to everyone else running around at the same time?
I don't. For me, that's not really what testing's about. Especially when we're rolling to the track with a package for the next round. I'm just trying to refine that as best as possible. There are corners at Winton which are similar to different corners at different tracks, but there are ones which you can't really find anywhere else. So yeah, just trying to. For me, it's about learning the tools in terms of tuning the car and what that can do for me in my development as a driver. Obviously making sure I'm up to scratch with my driving as well. That's really important. But yeah, more so just refining the car, which usually is not very much. We have a very small test plan because obviously these cars have run for so many years. The teams know what they're doing with them, but there's always a few little things to try and just little different tuning tools to try for me as part of my development. That's sort of what I focus on at a test day.
You had a pretty good year at Town, or a pretty good run at Townsville last year. You looking forward to going back up there?
Yeah, I can't wait. Honestly, I don't want to say it's my favorite round because it's pretty close with a few others, but I reckon it's really cool. And I don't know if that's because I just enjoy the track a lot. Like it's pretty hard to go past Townsville, even racing wise. It's just such an awesome circuit. But I think being a Tasmanian, getting up to a bit of warmth this time of year, it's pretty awesome. Like it's nice to roll around in just shorts and t-shirt and not have to wear a beanie like this when it's 7 degrees outside every day. So I don't know. I just really enjoy getting up there. It's nice to get away, bit of warmth, and yeah, I really enjoy the track.
I'd have to admit I'm a bit jealous, even being in Melbourne with you guys going up to Townsville because it does look very nice and warm up there. What is it? Is that what you're looking forward to most for this round? The warmth or getting good results?
No, like I enjoy the warmth, but no, I don't know if it's a track that suits me a bit more naturally. I think it is, but I've always enjoyed tracks that have big curbs that you got to smash and little technical corners, all the chicanes. I just find it a really enjoyable circuit. It's even for us in Super 2, it's one of our biggest circuits for tyre degradation, and I think that plays into my strengths a bit more as well. And that's something that is quite exciting, and is cool learning how to manage a tyre across a race stint. But I think just overall being a street circuit, big curbs, you're close to the walls, it's a pretty exciting track to drive no matter what car you're in.
Yeah, that does look very exciting, and we can't wait to see you out there, especially after having to wait so long between rounds.
Yeah, well, at least the next round's only a month away after this one, so that's not so bad.
How are you going to cope with them so close?
Uh well, luckily I don't have a test day, so I'll probably be okay.
Will you stay up in Queensland in between the two rounds?
No, it's look, I do have things to do in my life other than just holidaying around, but no, I'll head back up afterwards. But yeah, should be it's cool to have two Queensland rounds, but I would have preferred to have had a Victorian round in the calendar this year. I think that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, well, that is a topic that it's not very well spread out this year, is it?
No, but it's cool in a sense that I think the way the category are trying to run it is that there's 2 year cycles, so you get to try get a different range of tracks. Obviously they subbed out Perth for Tassie this year for me compared to last year, and we had 2 rounds at Bathurst versus having one at QR. So it's cool. That's what the category's about. Going to the different tracks that main game race at, and that way when we turn up, we're better prepared. I mean, you could argue Kai Allen on the weekend just gone at Darwin. He's never been there and he was outstanding, so maybe it doesn't help us. But I think overall, getting to experience different tracks in a supercar is something that's really important and pivotal about the Dunlop series.
I think that's a good idea, and also then for the fans that you get to, you're not always at, say, Sandown every year, and the people going to Adelaide never get to experience the Super 2.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also important, I don't know if they've thought about this, but from a sponsorship point of view, for me, I've got my biggest sponsor, Artiva Funding. They have people stationed and clients stationed all over the country. So when I can spread that a bit more evenly, and like Townsville is a Queensland round, but you're nowhere near where the hub of people are in Queensland. So to have one at Ipswich is good. I still get to do the ride day at Sandown. So to be able to have a bit more spread, that definitely helps, the affordability of Super 2. I think it's a nice thing.
Yes, it's very expensive, and then people like me suggest you should be doing more rounds.
Yeah, if we did more rounds, I think, I don't know how many people would drop off, but I think I'd have to drop off.
Just on that, have you got any ideas on how to save costs in this category?
No, but me wanting more tyres is definitely not saving costs. But in like holistically looking at everything, tyres is probably one of the cheapest things on our bill for the year. So I don't think giving us more tyres would hurt. But in terms of saving costs, I don't even know where to begin on that.
Reduce the big driver salaries, I think.
Yeah, Super 2 have really big driver salaries. Yeah, we get paid heaps.
Well, on that note, we'll be cheering you on over the weekend, and all the best.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And once again, we've got Cody Burcher back for the Townsville preview. What have you been up to over the break? It's been quite a long one.
It has been. The first half of this Super 2 series this year seems to be quite spread out. It's almost been 2 months between every round so far. But then obviously sort of once we get past QR, then it's, very, very short breaks in between. So hopefully we got the worst or the biggest breaks out of the way pretty well. So no, I've been keeping myself busy. It's obviously probably at Symmons Plains. It wasn't, whilst it wasn't a bad weekend, it wasn't the results that we set out to achieve. So didn't leave the round scratching our heads, but probably just more. I don't think we achieved what was possible. Just through a few, I'll say things that didn't quite go our way. It left us, sort of a little underdone is probably the right word. So working pretty hard between Symmons Plains and Townsville now. So 2 completely different circuits, 2 completely different driving styles, 2 completely different temperatures. So, myself tuning up a lot of things, sort of that I've learned over these first 2 rounds, and as well training quite hard to make sure we're ready to go. It's it makes it difficult being in Orange where it's already snowed 3 times this year, so it's a bit hard to do heat training there. But I can't wait to get up there to Townsville. It's an awesome track, creates some great racing, and a little bit of warm weather will be nice too.
So you would have been one of the few people who was actually happy to go to Winton for some testing in the middle of winter, I suppose.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was actually warmer there than it was here. So, look, I don't think that's something you'd hear very often. No, it was good to get back in the car, especially, iron everything out. It's when you're only in the car very limited times a year. The more laps in the car, the better, and especially only quite close to the round, it's even better to, flush the cobwebs out and hit the ground running.
Now, how'd you go at Townsville last year? Because looking at your results in Super 3, there's not much to really report on, whether you were kind of first and second every time.
Yeah, well, I think last year, like we started difficult in the practice on the Friday, but Saturday qualified 11th outright. And then I think I finished, was it ninth, I think, in the race, in race one. And then on Sunday, I was actually only, I think it was 3 or 4 tenths off pole, but that qualifying session in particular was ridiculously close. I think half a second covered the top 20. And then in the race, there was an incident at turn 4. So, and got a puncture from that. So, but I mean, really, like our speed there in the Nissan last year was quite good. So obviously, take a little bit of confidence from that. It's a track I've been to a couple of times now. So, and our cars have seemed to work quite well there in the past. So, look, I don't think like obviously we know what we want to go there and achieve. It's just a matter of putting it all together and dotting your I's, crossing your T's, doing all the right things at the right time, and but also improve on the things that we didn't quite perfect at Tassie. And I mean, in a Super 2 field that's so close, those little 1%ers make such a big difference. So I can't wait to get up there. Like I said, it's a great track, creates some awesome racing and a bit of warm weather as well. It's certainly a cool place, and the crowd seems to get quite around it as well. But no, I can't wait to get back in the Orcon Fiat Supercar.
So I suppose with the results so far this year, you've got to be looking towards a podium this weekend.
Oh yeah, you'd be crazy not to be looking at that. We've had a pair of 4th place finishes, a pole, and like I said, sort of leaving the first 2 rounds. Like there's been glimpses, or I wouldn't say glimpses, but you can see the speeds there. It's just a couple of those little things have sort of hampered that. And yeah, so it's been a massive learning process this year. Like these first 6 months have been fantastic. I've learned so much from the awesome Eggleston team, and you got the right people around you, and you feed off their information and data, and in the cars and out of the cars. They've got an awesome group of people that they've all seen success, and they all know how it works and what's needed to be done to achieve that success. So, look, it's certainly a goal, but not going to lose sight of those little things that need to go right to achieve that.
So in between Tasmania and now, you raced the GT4, didn't you?
Yeah, raced up a Queensland Raceway, which was definitely an eventful race, and I mean we're battling a few things in that category at the moment, but it's awesome to get some seat time, that's for sure. And look, we did end up grabbing a race win up there, but the different manufacturers they create a lot of unknowns. You go to some tracks and you could have the complete same configuration, or we call it BOP, as the round before, and you quite easily could be the other side of the timetable. It's whilst it's frustrating, it also sometimes when it plays in your hands, you love it. So that's just multi-manufacturer racing. It's just part of the game, but it's an awesome category, and it's a heap of fun. And my co-driver Tim does a great job. He's had a lot of success, and he's mentored me for quite a long time. So to be racing a car with him as well is quite surreal, to be honest. He's got a wealth of knowledge in many areas. So whether it's on or off the track, once again, that he can give me a tune up somewhere. It's he's definitely been a crucial part of my career to date.
Do you think that the driving that actually helps with the Super 2 program, or is it more just the bum in seat time that helps overall?
I think they're quite a different car to a supercar. If anything, they're probably a little bit underpowered. They got a unlocked diff. You got paddle shifters. You can left or right foot brake. They're quite different. If anything, it's more just your time in the seat is what makes the biggest difference. Like I said, you're quite limited in Super 2 and how much time you get in the car. So and the more laps you can get in the car, the better. And like I said, it's a great category. How they run the weekend is quite different to a Super 2 weekend. You got a co-driver over an hour race that a little bit of strategy plays into it. It'd be nice to have a few more longer races, around the 2 hour mark, that sort of thing. But the bum in seat time is definitely the biggest benefit.
Yeah, well, it is some very long gaps between rounds in Super 2, especially this year. But definitely looking forward to seeing you out there in Townsville on the weekend. We'll all be cheering you on and wish you all the best.
Thanks, Dave.
So a massive shout out to Campbell, Logan, Jarrod Hughes and Cody Burcher for spending time with me once again. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have a few, not next week, but the week after, recaps of them having great weekends up there in Townsville. Now, just before I sign off, last week I covered the final system and I did kind of open it up for people to ask questions that I'd cover off. There was a lot of questions down in the comments, and if you want to go back and have a read through them, I tried to cover off in the questions. There was probably Dominic Barden, who, he's always got great comments and great questions every week for me. So instead of answering these ones, I suppose these kind of encapsulated what a lot of other people were asking. And I've singled Dominic out just because he comments every week, great questions and great comments every week as well. No discrimination on anyone, but yeah, this is the ones that I picked because I think this covers off some stuff that I didn't cover off probably really well. And anyway, what happens with the points for the drivers eliminated at Sandown? Do they just fight for fifth amongst themselves, or will Supercars do what NASCAR does and rejig the eliminated drivers' points totals from 4,000 to 3,000 and put them amongst the drivers eliminated at surface, so we could have a 6-way battle for fifth in the championship? No, what happens is essentially the guys who are in the top 10, they're basically locked into the top 10 for the championship. The guys 11th and above, they are out. And then once you get to surface and they all get reset to 3,000, the 8th, 9th, 10th who get knocked out from surface, they will have their points at 3,000 and added onto, while the guys who are 5th, 6th, 7th into Sandown, they have their points from 4,000 and they have their own little battle there. So essentially, once you're knocked out of surface, you can only finish 8th, 9th or 10th in the championship. And then once you're knocked out at Sandown, you can only finish 5th, 6th or 7th in the championship, and then the top 4 go off to battle their own battle. So there will be a few, I suppose, you'll have your battle for 11th in the championship, you battle for 8th in the championship, and then you battle for 5th in the championship. But really, they're not going to be much of a talking point in Adelaide because everyone's going to be focused on the championship win. And his second question here, this goes off my scenario that I put together last week, which was basically taking where the championship positions were now and just carrying them forward without anyone changing position. And with the win and you're in, say that your Waters and Mostert won at Sandown, obviously they'd be automatically through to the final in Adelaide with the 2 888 boys in this scenario. But how would that affect their initial positions going into Adelaide? Would the winners be seeded top, ergo Waters and Mostert would get the 50 and 30 points, while Feeney and Brown will get 15 and 0, which I think is how it works in NASCAR, but I'm not sure. Or would the 888 boys get the 50 and 30 because they were still first and second in the standings after Sandown? So in my scenario, I had that even though Waters and Mostert had won, that it was still Feeney and Brown first and second going into Adelaide. So what happens is they get reset going into surface, where you have your bonus points given to the drivers. Then they score points how they normally would over the weekend. Say if you've got someone who's 6th in the championship, goes and wins one of the races in at the Gold Coast, and then DNFs on the, wins Saturday, DNFs on the Sunday, and they're down in 6th in the points after the weekend. Because they won one of the races, they automatically get in. So then whoever is 4th would be out. and yeah, that 6th position, say, jumps in. So it definitely helps if you do win one of the races. I was saying Gold Coast, I mean at Sandown. If you win one of the races at Sandown, that automatically puts you in the finals. But say, you know, Feeney doesn't win either of the races at Sandown, so he doesn't get an automatic entry, but he finishes second in both of the races, so he still has the most points going into Adelaide. That means he gets the 50 points bonus at the start of Adelaide because he had the most points going into there. I hope that all makes sense, and also this is how I understand the system. I imagine that there'll be some tweaking going into next year with things that may not work the best this year. I can see maybe a bit more weighting going towards things like, you know, the Enduro Cup, where maybe there might be 2 spots on offer into the top 10 for the Enduro Cup people, things like that next year. And then maybe, depending on how it flows through, some of the bonus points and things like that being adjusted. I still think it's very odd that, you know, you get 30 odd points or whatever for 10th in the championship as bonus points. I think that the spread should be a bit different on that, so that, you know, 10th is basically on the, you know, the 3,000 points or whatever going into Surfers Paradise rather than 3,030. Like, you know, why do we need to give everyone a bonus point running in? Or maybe only the top 5 in the championship or something like that get bonus points. But we'll see how all this plays out this year. And yeah, anyway, down in the comments, let me know your predictions for the weekend at Townsville. I'm going out on a limb. I think the Feeney domination will be over this weekend. I think we're going to see like a Chaz Mostert, Ryan Wood, Cam Waters or Tom Randall taking the spoils this weekend. I truly think that, yeah, one of those 2 teams will be, you know, at least one of the 2 will be backfiring, and yeah, they'll clean sweep the weekend, and, you know, it won't look so much like a Brock Feeney domination just for the rest of the year. But anyway, until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.